Would you like some drinks, senor? While you wait, I will put it on the Underhill's bill.
Yes, very good. I'll have a Bloody Mary and a steak sandwich and a steak sandwich, please.
Chevy Chase at his very best. In the 1985 classic Fletch, he knows nothing beats a steak sandwich. And this morning on Today Food, we have culinary traveler, author, and TV host, our good friend Adam Richman, showing us his take on the steak sandwich. He has a deep passion, as you know, for food and flavor, which he explores on his show, The Food That Built America, back for its 6th season. Adam, great to see you.
Great to see you too, my brother.
Before we dig in, which I can't wait to do, what can we look forward to at season 6?
I mean, honestly, it's going to be the type of situation where you're not going to look through the supermarket aisle ever the same way again. It's the human stories behind the iconic brands and some pretty surprising facts along the way. So today's recipe is kind of reflective of that. We're going to make an Italian recipe, and hopefully I'm allowed back. I live in the Bronx now. I'm going to add coffee to a red sauce. Now in England, they have spaghetti bolognese, but they don't call it spag bowl. Sure. And so my friend's mom adds instant coffee to it. So while we cook this, I'm going to let you know that the story of coffee in America involves a sock, the Gold Rush, and Joe DiMaggio. Wow. So while we do this,
watch the show to figure out what that means.
Oh no, I'm going to break it on down for you.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, we have some softened butter, pecorino romano, paprika. If you could start combining that.
Sure.
And I'm going to start roasting garlic. So we have an oven preheated to about 400 degrees. We're just going to cut to expose the top of the clove.
Okay.
We're going to put it in foil. You can do parchment if you want. And then just drizzle on olive oil. I like to go really liberal with it. And people forget you could actually infuse flavor into your garlic bowl. So I'm going to put some basil with it, and I'm going to kind of make a little bit of a bundle.
Okay.
Put it on the top rack, 400, last 10 minutes, open it up, and then you're going to get this beautiful caramelized garlic, which you can then squeeze into the butter. That's right. You are welcome, America.
Oh, my gosh.
You are welcome.
Wow.
Vampire repellent.
Wow. All right, now what kind of meat do you want to use for this recipe?
Stupendous question. The cool thing about this recipe, because you cook the beef for a while and it tenderizes, you can go, if you want to go a little bit more upscale, you can use New York strip, but this works with top round, it works with chuck, just as long as you give it a good, here, I want you to pound it down to about, that sounds bad, can you pound it to about ½ inch?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. That was awkward.
Yeah, sorry, HR. Wow, it's been a long week for
Too much?
We're good. We're good. No, we're
Letting
good.
out a few things.
That's okay. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Sorry.
Oh, boy.
Sorry to see that.
No, he's been doing politics all week. So normally we're going to cut it to roughly the shape of like a domino or a die.
Okay.
Or dare I say, a mahjong tile.
Oh.
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to cut the steak up, and I'm just going to do a couple of slices, so we've got a whole lot more recipe to go through. So we're going to do that. We're going to add some kosher salt.
Yep.
Hit me with some black pepper in there.
Sir.
So once it's evenly coated. So back to this story of coffee. So sock. People forget back in the day that coffee was usually sold to people green, and they had to roast it at home on a stovetop in a pan. They would grind it themselves. You get a gritty, awful brew, which you often had to filter through a hanky or a sock. It's an actual true fact. There were even recipes to add fish skin or eggshells to try to keep the grit out. Okay, so you're going to make sure that these brown on all sides. You leave it alone, don't press on it, whatever else. We want them to
quick,
brown.
though, right?
Yeah, relatively. We're going to remove them, but we're going to keep every little brown bit in the pan. That's a little bit of the magic. So we're going to add about another 2 to 3 more tablespoons of olive oil. You don't need a ton. And we're going to add in mushroom and bell pepper.
Here we go. Now we're talking.
Now, we talked about the gold rush. Well, people forget that in 1848, there was a guy named Jim Folger. Sound a little bit familiar? Hey-o. So Jim Folger worked for a man by the last name of Bovey, making spices and roasting spices. And he saw that prospectors really relied on coffee for the energy, for the warmth when they were camping out. He said, I have a roasting apparatus. Why don't I give people their beans roasted and ground so it's ready to go? So now we go through there. But now we obviously have to move on to Joltin' Joe. So normally we're going to cook this till it's soft. Once that's soft, could you add in some garlic for me?
Got it.
More garlic.
And then,
why not?
all the garlic. And then, once the garlic gets golden, we're going to throw in some Calabrian chilies. If you don't have that, red pepper flake, perfect, perfect.
These guys too?
No, we've done that. That's the coffee right there. So we're going to mix that in.
Right.
Ready for coffee?
No. What
Not yet. Okay.
No, sorry.
Once you get to that coffee.
Yeah, I want that coffee.
Absolutely. So then we're going to add some liquid. We're going to add some beef stock.
Okay.
dry white wine.
Okay.
Again, if you wouldn't drink it, don't cook with it. Now, once we have the liquid, we would normally raise it all the way up to a boil and then add the coffee.
There it comes.
Why coffee? It's going to actually help with a little bit of earthiness, a little bit of umami.
Okay.
It's going to kind of bring that sort of roasted flavor.
And what kind of
to the
coffee
dish.
are we using there? Does it matter?
Instant coffee.
Whatever you like.
Just a
Okay.
fine ground instant coffee, but
great.
make sure it's instant because it will liquefy when it hits the water. Then we're going to add in the tomatoes. I learned from actually the guy who put in my cable on my internet, you got to get plum tomatoes and crush them by hand. Don't buy them crushed. You got to crush them yourself. You got hands crushed.
I love where you get your stuff from the cable guy.
These are two different accents. You're British
He's
and a
very
cable
good, isn't
guy.
he?
I like
He's
it.
getting the full
Cheers,
repertoire.
mate. I feel like it was just SNL's 50th. It's my one chance
Getting the full Richmond experience.
Exactly. Once it cooks down for a little bit, we're going to simmer. We're going to add some fresh oregano.
Yeah.
And then you could add salt and pepper to taste. So then, if you wouldn't
Little
mind.
garlic bread here, right?
Absolutely. We're going to
Okay.
do the garlic bread. The cool thing is, you can prep the butter ahead of time, and because the butter and the garlic and the bread are all 400 degrees, you're good to go. Once we have it, we've reintroduced the meat to that sauce once
Hello,
we get it
meat.
there.
Ooh.
Exactly. And we're going to cook that meat down. The longer you cook it,
Wow.
the more
How's this tasting,
tender
guys?
it's going to be.
Yeah, we like.
We've been done.
It's
Yeah.
incredible.
You
And
like
the
it?
mozzarella, I mean, it's really.
And so finally, Joltin' Joe
I was waiting.
There he
DiMaggio.
is.
Joltin' Joe DiMaggio was basically the first food influencer. Vincent Marotta created the Mr. Coffee machine, found out the Yankee Clipper loved coffee.
Little basil here?
Stalked him. Yeah, absolutely. Went from Ohio to San Francisco, found out where he lived, said, listen, I know you love coffee.
Coming
Would you
around to try
endorse
it."
this for me? He said, I have an ulcer and I don't drink coffee anymore. So Vincent Marotta says, listen,
Oh, that's
let me
good.
pitch you. Let me try it.
That's
you like
so
it?
good.
And basically, he went from the crappy percolator that we all know and hate to beautiful drip coffee, all because of Joltin' Joe
at this.
DiMaggio.
Look at
He's
Sandwich
taking us
and a
from the
history
gold
lesson.
rush to Joe
Incredible.
DiMaggio and food.
You're
And chips
incredible.
from the
You've
cable
made
guy.
Joltin' Joe proud, Adam. Thank you. You can get that recipe on our website, today.com/food, and catch the season premiere of The Food That Built America Sunday night on the History Channel. Thanks, bud. Good to see you.
Thank you.
We're back after your local news.